Hello gamers, welcome back to the JRPG Report. My name is James Fisher. This is episode 84 of your weekly JRPG news podcast. Happy to be coming back to you guys yet again. We try to do this thing every week, and so far we've been pretty successful at it. Today is Thursday as of this recording, so that is our usual distribution day. Sometimes it's a little bit earlier in the week, but I'm kind of glad that I waited, as we had some fun things pop up this week. We've got a really jam-packed show for you guys. There's actually a few stories that I'm not really going to get to, so make sure that you check out the JRPG Report Facebook page, as that will have 100% of the JRPG news and happenings of the week. I'm going to kind of hit the bigger ones, as I want to kind of dive into a few of them a little more and give them their due time. But yeah, be sure and check that out if you are interested in seeing absolutely everything. And of course, all the trailers and stories that we talk about today will be featured there all in one place, easy to get to. So the big thing that popped up just a few hours ago, actually, and we've kind of had a few teasings about this, but Falcom did confirm the existence of the next entry in the Trails series of the Legend of Heroes games, and they are saying that this is all they're calling it, the next Trails game is due out September 2020 in Japan. They also mentioned that this the entire Legend of Heroes series has sold 4.3 million copies, which is not too bad considering kind of how niche this series is, and has really only kind of come into the limelight in the past few years. So remember a few months ago, we had that interview with the Falcom president, and he was talking about the future of the game series, and it sounds like there's going to be one new series, brand new offshoot, and then there's going to be kind of a spin-off in the Trails of series, and I think that's kind of what they're talking about. So it's not going to be Trails of Cold Steel 5. I don't believe that's what they're going to call it, but I do believe it will be in that world, so there may be some recurring characters pop up from time to time. But if I had to put money on it, that's where I'm thinking that this series is headed as far as the future goes. Now, the first things, the report, let's go ahead and finish the report. It also mentions that the company plans on releasing several remastered titles for PS4, as it did with Cold Steel 1 and 2 and Ys 8, as well as continue to take on challenges through the creation of new titles, including the Trails of and Ys series. So the first thing that popped into my mind was, okay, as that's great news for Japan, what about Cold Steel 4? Shouldn't we be kind of announcing the localization plans for 4, a game that has been out in Japan for a while now, before we start talking about the next game? Now, this is a Japanese company, so that is their, that's their bread and butter is over there. But this game the series in a whole has really started to gain some traction worldwide, so I find it a bit odd and almost, let's just say, I really hope that we get Cold Steel 4 here in the West before Japan gets another new game before that. They have been so slow to translate and bring this series worldwide. I hope this is that this breaks the mold and we get some news here soon about Part 4 coming along, certainly before September 2020. That is my fear, though, that is going to indeed happen. We already know about, Ys 9 being out in Japan, and word about it coming west has been slow as well. So apparently that's just kind of how Falcom does things. It's a little slow and behind the times. So I guess it just doesn't happen. That Falcom can get things kind of on track. And I'm certainly not expecting worldwide releases on these things, but they need to be a little quicker about it. That's for sure. When I posted this on the Facebook page, Jake also commented on that his first thought was that as well. That where the heck is Cold Steel 4 at? And I'm trying to pull up his comments. I can do it. And yeah, he also mentioned that he do away with the wait a few years for the rest of the world mentality. But we'll just have to wait and see. So that's certainly interesting. I'm glad that they are at least thinking that far in the future. But let's go ahead and get on with it. So the other big story that popped out this cycle, I guess this past week, was we got a slew of information about Persona 5 Scramble Phantom Strikers. I keep wanting to call it Persona 5 Strikers, but it is Persona 5 Scramble the Phantom Strikers. There was a live stream that came out the other day, and it really kind of emphasized a few things. There is a new protagonist, codenamed Joker, video that's out there. Really cool stuff. You'll want to check it out. At the very beginning, they show what could be called a spoiler, but it's only a spoiler if you know the context of what it is from Persona 5. So if you have perhaps never played Persona 5, you're not going to even know why it would be a spoiler. It's just kind of there and kind of matter of fact. It is cool to see that detail drove to me, that this is, obviously set after the events of Persona 5 and assumingly Persona 5 Royal. And that this will be I feel like not only this is going to be a great action title back in that world, but we may actually get some continuation of some of the story elements. So yeah, they had this first live stream, and here are the details. You'll want to sit down and grab a cold one, because there's a lot to go over here. Let's just start with the kind of the general details. So development is 9% complete already. Fine-tuning is the focus from here on. Many Persona fans and Omega Force were the ones working on this game, and who are bringing the game to the high quality level. Persona negotiation is being naturally and strategically incorporated into the action, rather than simply an action game where you rush around wildly. There will be a proper story with character growth and the like. Again, this is their words, not mine, so it may not be exactly how I would phrase things. Some character models have been borrowed from Persona 5, while some other new ones have been created. You can tell that right away, that they used all the assets they could and really recreate in this one. The game is being received as an entry in the Persona 5 series, hence why I'm excited to kind of see some new story details and character development. Whether confidants or story characters will make an appearance is still a secret. You can unleash various actions through a combination of the square and triangle buttons. There is still the shooting elements. And let me just, on a quickest of quick side notes, if you guys have seen the box art for this game, it clearly shows Joker on the front of the game with his pistol in hand. I'm worried that that's, as much as we love our guns here in America, and have seen just as this bastion of gun violence to the rest of the world, which is completely not. Let's just not even go there. I wonder if that's going to be censored for a Western release or not. I hope not, but we'll have to see if that is indeed the case. When you summon a persona, you can choose a skill with the up and down buttons. Also, the protagonist can change personas with the left and right buttons. When you summon the persona, time will come to a halt. Since information about the enemy will be displayed, you can carefully choose the persona and skill to match the enemy. Awesome. It is certainly not just going to be, oh, it's summon time, let me break out my persona and wildly just bash all these goons in the head. There actually seems like there's some strategy to it. A persona's attack range differs depending on the skill. SP is important. Strategies like striking the enemy's weakness or swallowing up a wide scope of enemies are essential. When you shoot your gun, time will come to a halt. There's also charge shooting. Each character will have their own gun. Depending on the battle, you can also still escape. With the Phantom move ability, nimble movement and attack actions using background objects such as traffic lights and street lights are possible. In the trailer, it definitely shows Joker spinning around a street light and doing a lot of damage in a circle area. That was really cool. The concept of buffs and debuffs are also in this game. By striking the enemy's weakness, it will become a technical hit and deal greater damage. By lowering the enemy's shield gauge, which is right next to their HP gauge, you can unleash one more in general attacks. You can summon persona while in mid-air. You can attack by exploding a patrol car as a flame attribute attack. Showtime is in the game. Since Joker can switch his personas, he has different showtimes for each. You can befriend personas. Persona fusion is also in the game. This talks about some of the story and new characters. As characters travel to the various cities of Japan, Atlus hopes to bring out aspects to the characters not shown in Persona 5. They want to depict Phantom Thieves as teenagers having fun. There's a nation of wanting to reward Phantom Thieves that worked so hard in Persona 5. The setting consists of more than just the 5 cities that had been previously announced. We saw that, well, at least I saw. I don't know if you guys saw it or not. The the 5 cities that will be shown on so far. So they're already saying that there is more to come. Sophia, voiced by Masaki Kuno, is the girl the Phantom Thieves meet in a different world. She cooperates with the Phantom Thieves in hopes of being a good neighbor to humans. Her codename is Sophie, and her weapons are a yo-yo and blaster. She specializes in recovery skills. She controls a being similar to the persona called Pithos. Zengechi Higashiwa is a public safety officer, safety police officer. At this point, it's currently unknown whether he will become an ally or not. Both these characters are heavily involved in the game. So they talked about the game system as well. The baton pass system for changing characters is included. Change characters in real time while striking the enemy's weaknesses. All-out attacks can be activated without stopping the flow of action. Each character has different parameters, weapons, and playstyle. Each character has their own HP, so switch up characters when you're in a pinch. Character growth also affects strategy. Enemies appear as enemy symbols on the map, and when you touch them, battle will begin. You can also encounter enemies by shooting them. Also, by successfully sneak encountering enemies from behind or overhead, you can start the battle at an advantage as a chance encounter. Sophie is a good character used for beginners. She has a technical element that advanced players can also enjoy, where by connecting attacks with good timing, she can expand her power and range. She can charge her power with the triangle button. Her charge shot can possibly paralyze the enemy. Of course, Panther uses her whip. She fights with magic more so than power. Among her attacks is a fire attack unleashed by Carmen. By pressing the triangle button, she can enchant her whip with fire to deal fire attribute damage and attacks. She can also enchant while attacking. She can also lower the enemy's attack power with the Tarunda skill. All of Skull's special attacks can be charged. By charging Zio, he can become that. By charging, Zio can become Mazio. While it takes some time to charge, Skull can activate super armor to take hits without recoil. They say the damage is slightly reduced in this mode. Strategy is an important element of battle. It can be very difficult to win with power alone. By lowering the down gauge in mid-boss battles, a special auto attack can be activated. And also allows you to check enemy weaknesses and perimeter status. For example, when an enemy's defense is lowered by Rakunda, you can check this information via analysis. Boss battles can be made easier through debuffing. During battle, a party member may suggest an attack at particular timing where they can unleash an effective attack. By following through on their suggestion, you will switch that character as soon as the attack begins. There's also an easy mode for users who also want to enjoy the story. Difficulty can be changed at any time during the game. So there's a kind of a good heads up on everything that's included in the game. It really looks like they've taken the world of Persona 5 and made it into a action game, but still using all those elements of Persona 5 that made it so unique and fun. This does not sound just like a mindless hack and slash. It looks like there's strategy. Looks like you're going to have to use all those things that you used in Persona 5 to your advantage in order to make this work. I'm very, very excited about this game. I've been excited about it ever since I saw it. Not only just as a Persona fan, but the game looks good and it looks like a lot of fun. And it doesn't make me think of just an offshoot, just using the characters and trying to make a quick buck. It actually looks like it's going to be a pretty good game. Are you guys looking forward to it? I know I am. So those were the two kind of big stories that I wanted to get to. There's a few other ones that've got some meat to the bones, but let's kind of dive into some quicker ones. I was a bit surprised by this one. A Resident of Fate 4K/HD edition will launch in December in Asia. It does have English and Chinese language support. We saw this kind of with the Dragon Quest first 3 games. This is through Play Asia, and so they kind of made a physical version of it, and it looks like that's going to be just what's available. There's not going to be a special Western edition. This is what it's going to be. So I had this is known as End of Eternity. Not just has a December. No actual date on it. The standard edition is going to go for $44.99. Again, that can be pre-ordered through the Play Asia website. There's also a collector's box, and that is $30 more. Of course, you get the game, you get the collector's box packaging, art collection, art book, which is 54 pages long, and the battle track collection, which is 2 discs long. So this is also available on Steam if you just want to download it. But if you are looking for this physical copy, you can pick it up. I've got this game on PS3, and I can't remember if I actually tried to play it or not. It's one of those games that's known as being a pretty difficult and different type of games. I mean, Art Systems Works did this one, and with the help of Tri-Ace. So it had some good muscle behind it. Just one of those ones I just never got around to. And I guess if I saw this would certainly be the way to play it. Very interesting gameplay with use of guns as your main attack weapons. Maybe something to pick up down the road a little bit. Project Secure Wars got some new information. There is going to be a demo which will launch November 21st in Japan. The demo will allow players to experience both the game's adventure and battle parts, and this is out ahead of its December 12th release in Japan. No word on if that's going to be also available. Of course, it's not coming out until the spring 2020 in the West, so maybe we won't get that demo for a little while, as I'm sure it's mostly in in Japanese. There was also a big breakout on in Weekly Famitsu. They introduced enemy character Oboro, the heroin joint attack special moves, as well as 2 new mechs. So I've got that story all linked on the Facebook page. If you're really looking forward to this one, there is a ton of information to go over. This one, just quickly, is not a JRPG by traditional standards. We briefly mentioned during the Halloween episode that Diablo 3 was a game that you could would be able to maybe pick up at Halloween due to its creepy and hellish settings. And I was happy to see that Blizzard had finally announced Diablo 4 for PS4, Xbox One, and PC back at BlizzCon. A release date was not announced. I did share this one over on Facebook, so if you want to check it out, it's got a incredible looking trailer to it. As you know, we don't just play JRPGs here. You've got to take a break every once in a while, and that's one of the series that I quite enjoy. Taking a break and playing. Fairy Tail Episode 1 will launch for PS4 on November 5th, so that has already happened. If you're interested in this game. It first came out on PC, early access back in November of last year. Came out fully in May of 2019. Xbox One got the version back in September. Episode 2 is currently in development. It says for a release in 2019. Well, they are running at a time quickly. But yeah, you can now pick this one up on PS4. Light Fairy Tail is a 3D turn-based Japanese-style RPG set in the dying underground world, ruled by a fierce and powerful empire. This is definitely an episodic game, so I believe it's pretty cheap. I want to say it was like $15, maybe $20 at the most, but kind of has a I don't know, the world kind of looks like FF7 in a bit. I can't quite put my finger on what the character models remind me of. They look like a mix between PS1 inspired, but with PS2 glaze on them. And just looks like a good and fun turn-based game that I definitely want to check out at some point in time. Again, this might be one that'll you can catch on sale at some point and check out. There was a new Japanese commercial for Yokai Watch 4 Plus. I love these games with the pluses in them. There's not to be outdone, you get the plus. The game is coming out for PS4 and Switch on December 5th in Japan. No word on a Western, at least in this article. We may have reported this coming to the West. I believe it is. It's hard to keep all this stuff straight. Got an article about Mistover, the physical edition that's coming out here soon. It will include, in Japan, it will include downloadable content for a special dungeon theme after the Guilty Gears series. Publisher Arc Systems Work announced. It is now available digitally for PS4, Switch, and PC. The Japan exclusive physical edition is due out on January 23rd. So maybe if that one does well, they may decide to go out and make this a worldwide physical edition, or we get limited run or somebody to take a poke at this one and try to make it happen. God Eater 3 versions 2.1 and 2.11 updates are now available. This adds the Hugo and Zeke chapters to the Traversing the Past episode, new origami, and more. You can check out the full list. Version 2.0 is the one that had all these additions, and then 2.11 fixed some minor bugs. So you can see all those goodies. They're not going to make a whole lot of sense to you if you're not a fan of that series. There's also updates for Monster Hunter World Iceborne. The expansion version 11.5 update is now available as of this recording. Well, it'll be available at 4 o'clock this afternoon, Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern. More than likely by the time you're listening to this. And if you are interested, it's probably going to be available. Fix some minor bugs and all kinds of there's quite a few corrections and things that they made. So again, check out the Facebook page for the full list of all the goodies that you can be experiencing in Monster Hunter World Iceborne. Let's take wait just a second. There's also more Iceborne news. On November the 21st, there is going to be the Horizon Zero Dawn Frozen Wilds collaboration will begin. And actually, again, as of right now, part of that fix that we just talked about on November 7th, there's going to be a Resident Evil 2 collaboration. Leon, Claire, and Tyrant will pay a visit to Iceborne. So that's pretty cool. There's also some updates coming up in December that you'll want to check out if you're so inclined. So head over to the Facebook page, give us a like, and check out the full list of all the information coming to Monster Hunter World Iceborne here very soon. Let's take just a quick break and a breather, pay some bills, and we'll be back with part 2 here in just a moment after a word from our sponsor. Hey guys, let's take a quick second to thank our sponsor for today's podcast. That is Anchor. Of course, that is the platform that allows me to reach you guys, and we want to thank them for being such a great sponsor, but also let you guys know if you want to start your own podcast, it's really simple and easy. You just need a way to record, and the Anchor app or download on your desktop through their website. It's 100% free and easy, and you can actually make a few bucks with advertisements like this. So if you're thinking about starting a podcast, give Anchor a try. You will not be disappointed. Like I said, they are 100% free, and that's one of the things I love about them as reaching all the major platforms. So try Anchor today. In just over a week from today, all you Poke fanatics will finally get your hands on Pokemon Sword and Shield. Of course, due out on the Switch on November 15th. And Pokemon Company and Nintendo is getting everyone ready. There is a special 5-minute overview trailer, as well as the always humorous 30-second TV commercial for you guys to check out. Of course, you know where to go see all that stuff. And right before it, they also detailed handy features, new items, Gigantamax Pokemon encounters, and the first online competition, including mints, special supplements, experience candies, and more. So a ton of information is out there. My goodness, all kinds of stuff is out there. So check out the Facebook page to get all. If you want to, obviously being this close to coming out, you may be like, hey, I just want to play the game and experience some of this stuff on my own. I don't want to have too much spoiled for me. So yeah, just one more week, guys. Chill out. It's almost here. You'll have your Pokemon for a long, long time. The Alliance Alive HD Remastered for PC will finally come out on January 16th of 2020. Publisher NIS America announced. Of course, the game is already available for PS4 and Switch worldwide. So, not exactly sure why PC owners had to wait a little bit longer for a remake of a 3DS game, but there you go, January 16th. You can finally get your hands on it. Speaking of games that got delayed forever, Arc of Alchemist for Switch is coming west alongside the PS4 version in early 2020. Idea Factory International announced. Like the PlayStation 4 version in North America, the Switch version will be digital only release in both regions. PS4 version is available both physically and digitally in Europe. The company announced that the new features added to the Switch version of the game for its Japanese release back in October will be present for both the Switch and PlayStation 4 versions in the West, which include an updated systems feature and the ability to choose and play between 7 plus possible characters. So at least have a time frame on this one as early 2020. The game looked intriguing, but yeah, just so many delays for this one. It's kind of gone off my radar, and early 2020 is not going to be a good time for it to come out, especially if it starts drifting towards March. If you were a fan of the game Death and such, I didn't play the first one, so I haven't really gotten into this one. It'd be really cool if they decided to throw the first one in there, like they did with Mary Skelter. We'll see if that actually happens or not. Got it interesting. Well, first off, Fairy Tail got a hands-on preview screenshot and new gameplay. Not trailers, but videos were out there. A few outlets, including DualShockers, GameSpot, Nintendo Everything, Noisy Pixel, and for Extra Life. Is that how you say that? It's Extra Life with an F at the beginning of it. I've not heard that one. So they all had different videos for it, showing off different aspects of the game. Of course, it's due out. All they're saying is 2020 on it for PS4, Switch, and PC of the new Koei Tecmo and Gust Fairy Tail RPG. Again, I've not watched the anime, so I'm not super familiar with it. But the game, just from a game standpoint, looks really cool. I like the art style. I really like the battle system, the way it looks. Gust also put out a little blurb, and let's see. They say they have 4 projects in development, plus a new Atelier game. You guys knew it was coming. I mean, Rise is out now, so it's on to the next. So this was a Gust producer, Kaguchi, told Accu Gaming. These are some of the tidbits from that interview. It kind of focused on Fairy Tail, but it went in a few different directions. So about game Fairy Tail in particular, they chose to start the story from the middle to have a game with many characters and more advanced developments such as techniques and magic, as well as to start at a time when the guild is destroyed, so players have to start from scratch while already having all the content in place. Hiro Mashima was very open to the addition of original content, and all new content from costumes to new scenarios were approved by a committee composed of him and others. The focus is on existing characters, not creating new ones. As far as downloadable content, they're considering bonus items and possibly additional scenarios. However, as far as dealing with the arcs of the story not covered in the game, that will be best done for a future installment, i.e. sequel. So yeah, they're not sure what the other projects are, if you're including Fairy Tail, the new Atelier game. But rest assured, there's more coming. Don't worry. Square Enix, their first development division, is currently working on an unannounced new intellectual property for high-definition consoles, they say. Of course, this the first development division has a diverse portfolio. They're currently working on FF7 Remake. They did Kingdom Hearts 3, Saga, Scarlet Grace, Romancing Saga 3, the remake, and Romancing Saga Re-Universe, as well as various other titles. They have a large skilled staff in a range of fields from consoles to smartphones. They say, quote, they are aiming to realize a next-generation action game experience that goes beyond the framework of existing action games with an international team of creators from all over the world. So note, they don't say this is a new IP by any stretch. So reading between the lines, sounds like to me this is a PlayStation 5 next generation. We'll just call it that, next generation game. So what do you think it's going to be? To me, it has to be Final Fantasy. But they're saying it's a new next generation action game experience. And is that really where they want to take Final Fantasy? If you ask me, it didn't work with 15. I think 16 needs to go back to its roots. I'm not saying it has to be strictly turn-based, but it probably should be. And I think, if anything, we have proven with Persona 5 and Trails of Cold Steel 3, you can do turn-based and still make it pretty fast-paced and fun. And I wouldn't be opposed to just Return of the Active ATB bar. I think they could do it. I really do. So, does that mean it's Kingdom Hearts? Does that mean it is actually a new IP? Is it the next? Well, I don't guess it would be near. I don't think they would handle that one. So, we'll just have to wait and see. I think we're a ways off from this game. Obviously, all their focus is going into FF7 Remake. I guess they could be talking about the next couple episodes of FF7 Remake. You know, we're probably... I still think we're talking about a trilogy. I really do. I think they're going to find enough content to make it three games long. But we'll just have to wait and see. So speaking of FF7 Remake, and one of the... I wouldn't say it's the oddest thing I've ever seen, but... So, Square released a commercial. And it apparently aired during Fuji TV's FNS 27-hour TV Japanese Sports Are Strong television broadcast. The commercial that went on the air was 7 minutes long. And so you're like, oh my gosh, 7 minutes, that's crazy. If you're watching broadcast television in America, you usually get 6.5 minutes of commercials for every 30 minutes. So a 7-minute commercial, if you do it for an hour-long program, is really not that long. It's all at once. So, yeah, it's an odd commercial. I don't know Japanese. I don't claim to know it. And so the aired commercial at 7 minutes, there's a special commercial version of it, a long version that's 13. There's no subtitles for it. So on YouTube, of course, you can get it to try to auto-translate. It won't even try to do the 13-minute version. The 7-minute version, it makes an attempt at auto-translation. And if you want a good laugh, try to do that. Because while I don't know what they were saying, I'm pretty sure it's not what YouTube thinks they're saying. It is a hot mess of whatever they're trying to say. So here's the gist of the commercial. It follows the story of an office worker who has never played FF7. He plays it cool while discussing the release of FF7 Remake with his bosses and girlfriend, as well as Final Fantasy VII mega fan. He kind of shows up in a bar and he's still looking at of course it's all Japanese, so it's the Japanese version of the strategy guide, a well-worn copy of the strategy guide. They actually show the original PlayStation copies of the game with the black backs to them in the original box art. It's really well done. Anyway, the girlfriend knows FF7 by watching her brother playing it grow up. During these discussions, the office worker gradually becomes interested in playing the title. He should probably try to play the original first. However, it's interesting. I don't see how they'd have to completely redo it for America, but maybe they'll try to do it because it's actually a pretty sweet and cool commercial, just getting a feel of it. At one point, I think the translation actually worked for a brief moment where it shows the girlfriend watching her brother play it and saying it was her favorite game, even though she's the one holding the controller at one point during the game. And, you know, that's the way it's going to be for a lot of people. Now, you know, for me, in 1997, I was 16 years old. So, while it's hugely important to me, you know, FF6 hit when I was a little bit younger and holds a little bit more of a heartstring pull on me. But, you know, let's say you were closer to 10 or 12 and you played FF7 for the first time, you're probably going to be what they're trying to convey in this commercial. So, yeah, if you know Japanese, definitely check this thing out. It's pretty fun. It's pretty cool. If you don't, try to get that YouTube translation on there and check it out. But I love seeing things like this. As it's gearing up, guys. We're less than 4 months away. No, 5 months. March. It's November. So yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. So definitely go over to the Facebook page and check out the link for that. You will thank yourself for doing it, no doubt. That's all I got for you guys. Like I said, there were a few things we didn't cover, so if you head over to Facebook and see stories, hey, James didn't talk about this week. Why not? Well, it's because we're like over 40 minutes long, and I really want to talk about those things a little more in depth. I feel like there's plenty of weeks where there is no news, and I've got to kind of talk about everything. This was not one of those weeks, and I'm kind of glad that it wasn't. So briefly, let's definitely like us on Facebook. Head over to YouTube. Give us a like on there. Subscribe. I'm still got my playthrough of Cold Steel 3. It's going slowly, so you can watch the live streams, and then I'm trying to put up kind of break it down by section and re-upload different versions of that. And of course, I do try to put this out as a YouTube video as well, the podcast, with all the videos that we talk about, at least parts of them. It's hard to show all of them sometimes. Check that out. So our special thing, remember we talked about last week. If you sign up for listener support for this podcast between now and the end of 2019, we've got 7 weeks. I need 5 people to do that, at least 5. I'll take more than that. That'd be great. If 5 of you will sign up to support this podcast, all it takes is $1 a month. You know, you can spend more than that in 5 seconds and throw it away. So choose to support this podcast. That'd be great. Everyone who signs up to support this podcast, you're entered in to win. Somebody will win the limited edition copy of Final Fantasy VII Remake. That's $80 value. So if you do that, it's way cheaper than buying a lottery ticket, and you got pretty decent odds of winning. Now, nobody's done that yet, and if I don't get at least 5 people, I can't really afford to shell out $80. But I really want to do this to help out you guys and help me. I'll help you type of deal. I think it'd be a lot of fun, a way of giving back to you guys who have given so much to me by listening to this podcast every week. So there's a link to the Facebook page. You can find it on the bottom of the podcast. If you go and look and scroll down a little bit, you can figure out how to support the show. If you can't find it, don't know where it is, I will gladly send it to you. Send me a message on Facebook, pop me an email, James Fisher, Fisher, Productions @gmail.com. There's tons of ways to get a hold of me, and I will gladly send you the link that you need. That's all we got for episode 84 of the JRPG Report. And we'll be back with you guys next week to talk about more fun things. But until then, get back out there, level up.